Hello, Dr. Darshan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for attending today's interview. And my first question will be, could you share your career journey and how you started and the challenges you have faced?
Yeah, thanks, Mustafa. I think good question. So I started my journey mainly as a civil engineer, working on a number of projects in as a structural engineer. So doing a lot of building projects, and then following that, I was more interested in doing uh, more work in sort of the design management field. And in terms of overall design management, that's when I started looking at how could you use shared models between different teams to make better understanding of aspects of design in terms of sharing information between architect and engineers. And that led to a piece of work which resulted in a PhD at the University of Nottingham, following which I joined Arup in the information management team. So what I do in Arup for the last 15, 20 years is really to do with managing information on projects and helping clients understanding their information needs. And in this period, been fortunate to work on a number of large infrastructure projects, implementing information management techniques to help the projects and organizations, including projects like London 2012 Olympic Games, on HS2 recently, and also quite a bit of work in the civil nuclear sector. So that's been quite fascinating.
Thank you. Could you also talk about the role of data management and information technology in transportation areas such as planning, design, or implementation?
So I think on a number of these large-scale infrastructure projects that I've worked on, there is a lot of information that is available, that is background information, which is available within the public domain. But you also need to sort of subset or add to it with specific information that you can gather through surveys. A lot of it is sort of at a macro level, quite geographically based, so you need to be able to classify it so it can be made available to the wider teams in context. And it can be assured and be reused in different ways. So that's quite useful because what it does is it provides a single source of truth so that everybody can share the same information. You are preventing a lot of rework because you don't want to go and survey the same piece of land twice, and then make it possible for designers to focus on what I would say are the value added tasks, which is actually creating better design rather than focusing on the information that they need at hand. Because I think at the end of the day, designers or project managers are looking at creating solutions for problems. And when you're trying to create solutions for problems or make decisions in doing so, your decisions are as good as the information you have in hand. So
Okay.
that's really useful.
Thank you. And according to you, what is that one skill or technology that one must know to enter the industry?
Uh, I think one of the key things is being conversant with different software packages that are available to manage information, and from a overall perspective, having uh, the thirst for knowledge in terms of data information governance, because I think data and information governance are quite key The software is there to help you enable what you want to manage, but having that mindset is very important in terms of the quality and the assurance around the information and the data that you have.
Thank you. And my final question is, what will be your career advice for civil engineering students that are majoring in transportation?
I think for civil engineering students who are majoring in transportation, I think the main thing is you're obviously doing transportation because you like to build new infrastructure, maybe roads, highways, bridges, whatever you do. So it's extremely important you understand the technical aspects of the design, because it's when you have a very good understanding of the technical aspects, you might be also able to translate that to managing those. And you also understand what are the key aspects in terms of information and data you need. So it's sort of building from the ground up. So know your subject area, but also be conversant that design is not done in isolation. You need input from others. So how do you share that information in the correct format is also very useful.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Darshan, for giving your time.
Yes. So, Dr. Darshan, I too have one question for you. I just wanted to know what are your thoughts on continuous learning? Like what are your thoughts on this, and how do you think the continuous learning helps the students when they enter the industry? How the technology can like how the technology helps the students to how it is so important to stay updated about the technology, or how the continuous learning is so important. If can you just explain your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think continuous learning, especially with the advent of new technology, with the automation that is possible now, it's extremely important to not only know your basics, but be conversant with what the latest is in terms of development, in terms of what I would say digital within the work stream that you're working on. Because if you don't keep on learning more, then besides the basics that you have, you will still quickly fall behind the curve in terms of what's the latest in terms of implementation. So it's extremely important to be doing that. For example, doing reviews in terms of previously design checks used to happen using paper-based drawings, but now there is a new skill that needs to be learned in terms of doing design checks using model files in a virtual environment. So how do you go about doing that? And these are quite fascinating things which one needs to keep on learning.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Darshan. That was pretty helpful.